Welcome to Take It from the Iron Woman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Iron Woman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Iron Woman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Iron Woman. We only have special guests, and today we go to Andrea Walton. She's a special person sent to me by Hope Katz in Washington, D.C. She has a lot of things to share with us. Basically, it's from GED to MBA. And also, we want to hear about the Concrete Rose Scholarship. Welcome, Andrea. Introduce yourself. What can you learn from you?
Well, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. You are truly an incredible example of resilience, and appreciate you having me on. My name is Andrea Walton. I am the founder and executive director of the Concrete Rose Scholarship Foundation. And really, it was birthed out of my own experience. I was born and raised in Pasadena, California by a single mom, Judith Walker, and I got pregnant at 15 years old. We lived in a socioeconomic disadvantaged community and lots of gangs and drugs during the early 80s. But our community was tight-knit. But I became pregnant at 15. Of course, when you have teen daughters and they want to have boyfriends and moms and dads say no, my mom was adamantly against it, but I went ahead anyway and unfortunately became pregnant. And my pregnancy was so high risk that I needed to drop out of high school. It was kind of a double whammy, being that young and then also not able to finish your primary or secondary education. And so dropped out. And during that time, I knew if I did not get my high school diploma, that my life would be stuck and I would continue to be a statistic. I studied really hard for the GED, which is the high school equivalency exam here in the US. And it was a 2-day test. And we did not have a car, but my mom had a bike, a 10-speed bike. The days of the test, it was raining. And I knew I needed to still go. That determination and resilience in me, I got on the bike. I rode it in the rain for the first day, came back home, rode it again, took the test. And then a few weeks later, I got a certificate, which I still have on my wall, that I completed my GED.
Wow, congratulations. And I see you on the bike, determined to get there, because as you said, you would know if you don't get the education, you would be part of a statistic, and this would box you in for the rest of your life. Very happy you pulled through the rain and you got that diploma, and make sure you have it framed and visible every single day.
I do. I actually do. Behind me is my GED, my bachelor's degree, and my MBA. And it is a daily reminder to me of what I can accomplish and what anyone can accomplish listening, that really it is a decision. It is a mindset that you have to make to say, I will not stay here. And that's what I did.
First, tell us a little bit how it was as a 15-year-old mother of a child.
You know what? It was scary. It was obviously uncharted. I was in labor for 36 hours and just completely scared. My mother, thank God, was so supportive. She didn't turn her back on me. She didn't abandon me. She worked at a local grocery chain, and so I needed to go get welfare. So I applied for welfare. And I remember standing in line for food stamps. And I arrived to the office because it can be demeaning, feel like so defeated. And I decided to get dressed like I was going to a job interview. I dressed up, I put on my pearl earrings, a nice suit, and I applied for the welfare. And I did it for me more than anyone else. I wanted to just signal to myself, even as a 15-year-old girl, that I wouldn't stay here long. I got the benefits that I needed. And then, of course, eventually got my high school diploma. And I started working full time. And then I decided I wanted to go get my undergrad. So applied for undergrad, got in. And by this time, I was married and had my second daughter. And so I was completing my undergrad. Then, of course, later in my 20s, got my MBA. But yeah, being a mom at that age, we didn't have a car for a long time. So I'd have to push her stroller everywhere, take her to doctor's appointments. Talk about growing up fast. It really forced me to do so.
No childhood in a way, like 15 years old, you had a responsibility and you had to get to the food stamp office.
As I reflect, even in hindsight now, I didn't have a childhood, but that whole like teen experience I didn't have. That has definitely shaped me into the leader that I am, one that is very determined, very focused, because I just didn't have those extracurricular things to think about. I went, got that. I started working at a credit union as a human resources recruiter in Pasadena. And that's really where my HR career started. And I was there for a few years. And then I went to Coca-Cola, which was my first big job.
Yeah.
I felt like I was making real money and supported 3 states, LA, Arizona, and Hawaii as a recruiter. Then from there, I went to Target and worked for a couple years and Nestle for almost a decade. And then I became a vice president of HR at an ed tech company here on the East Coast. And then my first chief people officer role at another ed tech. And then my most recent role, chief people officer at a biotech. I've had a very incredible, successful HR career for 22 years. It is, again, determination, faith, support. I couldn't have done it on my own, but I did work very hard on my own. I'm very happy about the path and the journey, and it's just been incumbent upon me to give back. And that is why I established the Concrete Row Scholarship Foundation.
Now listening to you, you went from Target to Coca-Cola to Nestlé. It almost seems like easy, but I know these are difficult steps and you have to prove yourself to get to the next level.
Every time. And, I just have never been afraid to try. I could have stayed at the credit union in Pasadena. I could have stayed at Coca-Cola for a little bit longer. As we were talking about in the pre-interview, once I got into HR, I wanted the top job from the beginning. I wanted the chief people officer role. And then it wasn't called chief people officer, it was like head of human resources. But I knew I wanted that and I could do it if I just got the experience. And so that was my yes. That was my GPS end game. And so every role that I took led me on a path to get to that role. So there were roles that came across my path while I was at some of these companies, but I knew that if I deviated, I wouldn't get to where I was. And so I've always been very clear, regardless of successes or failures, I know where I want to land. And that's why, to your point, it's not been easy, but it's been worth it for sure.
We were talking about that GPS. When we have a car, you put your address and your goal, your end destination into the GPS. Then why is it sometimes so hard in life? We go deviation, we procrastinate, we give up. This should be a metaphor for many. You have a GPS, you put in your goal and you work towards it. Yeah, you might have some obstacles in your way, but work towards your goal.
Show yourself some grace if you get off the path, right? You recall when you put in a goal or an address in your GPS, and if you make the wrong turn, you'll hear the GPS say recalculating route. What I love about life is that you can always recalculate your route.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yes, I got pregnant at 15, but I recalculated the route. I had to take different jobs to get to where I wanted to get, but I always recalculated. And so even if you get off course because life's and things happen, get back on and continue to move forward.
How is your daughter? What did your daughter learn from you?
Wow. Well, so I have 3 kids in total. Naomi is now 33 and Michaela is 25. And then I have a son, Gregory, who's 12. And so I have 3 amazing kids, but Naomi has been with me obviously the longest. And I actually got a chance to have her on my podcast, The Temple I Built recently, to talk about her journey because when she was born to me, she was also born with a disability, a radio club hand. She's had numerous surgeries. I remember being in Children's Hospital, Los Angeles. She was 1 year old. I was 16, trying to figure things out. And what she has shared with me is that she has learned how to self-acceptance and we've grown up together, but she is an incredible daughter and also an incredible friend.
Wonderful. I'm sure you can only learn from each other and with each other. So now let's switch a little bit to the Concrete Rose Scholarship. Tell us more about that because I'm excited. And again, congratulations what you have achieved there as well.
So much. I'm excited too, and I'm so excited when I get to talk about it. When I was 19, I had drafted really, I think what the early beginnings of this was. I called it the National Association for Young Successful Mothers at 19. I want to create a nonprofit to help girls or women like me. Now, fast forward, I created the Andrea Walton Scholarship in 2020 during the pandemic. And I was able to start giving out academic scholarships to students with similar backgrounds who came up maybe poor, maybe not the best resources. They have the smarts, they have the brains, they have the grades, and just not a lot of support there. And so I started it in 2020. And then recently in 2024, I changed it to the Concrete Rose. And I just changed the name, one, because it doesn't need my name to be
Mm.
effective. And two, I grew up in the city of Pasadena, which is the Rose is the city of Pasadena. And I grew up in community arms apartments, so big cement concrete apartments. I just want to help people bloom in hard places. And so I created the Concrete Rose Scholarship Foundation. To date, I've given out to 10 scholarships over a little over $10,000. I have a great partnership with the University of Cape Town where we are giving out scholarships there as well. So shout out to UCT and the scholarship team there, and also Howard University here in Washington, D.C. I've also partnered locally with our Alexandria City Public Schools and the mayor of Alexandria, Elia Gaskins. And so it's been an incredible journey. My goal over the next 5 years is to be able to give out over $100,000 and expand my scholarship to South America. Those listening that want to contribute, you can go to theconcreterosescholarship.com and there's a support us button, and you can certainly support us there.
When you say support, I'm assuming with money, but is there any other way that we can support you as well?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got a myriad of ways on the website. One, obviously financial, but if someone wants to partner, whether it's mentorship, I'm also collaborating with others on a pipeline to education. And what we've discovered is it's not just about those that are going to college, but sometimes there's a lot of barriers for people just to dream about going. Maybe they don't have sanitary napkins. Maybe they don't have clothes, transportation. And so partnering with the local school district here in Alexandria, we did a back to school drive. We raised money for that. We got backpacks and school supplies. We got young ladies' hair done. So it's not just about those in university. Sometimes it's just about making sure people arrive to school in secondary or primary so they can envision themselves going to college.
And is there any focus for the scholarship? So if somebody's applying, because I know also partnering with EdSnaps, which is a organization that focuses on STEM. So it's about STEM learners to become STEM leaders. Is there any specific focus in your scholarship?
Yeah, so our focus, especially since changing it to the Concrete Rose, has been STEM as well. Our last winner, Amy Chang, you'll see her on the website. She's a STEM major at Boston College. And we also provided the donation to Howard University STEM program. So yes, that's been our focus as well. Others may apply. In addition to the universities that we apply to, I also partner with bold.org, and they house my my scholarship there. And students from all universities are able to apply if they don't go to those two universities. And they have different or varying majors. What I look for is you've got to have at least a 2.0 GP. You've got to have great grades, obviously, and be giving back to your communities. Demonstrate that in your essay to us and to the board. And so there are several ways people can apply, but that is the lens that we have looked for.
So now, so far, you have 10 scholarships and also $10,000 that you gave out. It's 2026. So what is your vision, your dream for 2026?
My wish and dream, according to our strategic plan as well, is to, again, raise $100,000 in 2026 and be able to deepen our partnerships with the current universities and also explore others. And so my hope is that I get to explore partnerships with Spelman College and others, as well as deepen and go into South America. That is a part of our strategic plan as well. So increasing the dollar amount, deepening the partnerships, and going further globally.
You will get there. You're giving so much. How do you rejuvenate and recharge your batteries? Is there anything else you add to your busy days?
What I do to recharge is a daily exercise, which is prayer and meditation, and I'm making sure that I have quiet moments during the start of the day. That has become very important to me. It is a way for me to not only pour into myself, but connect. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and so pour back and have the Holy Spirit pour back into me. And so if that is important for me, that is the only way I'm able to continue to do what I'm doing, which is just to center myself every single day. As I've mentioned in many interviews, a girl likes to go to the spa as well
Sure.
and get a massage or get a pedicure. But, that thing from an intentional perspective, I've got to breathe in and breathe out quietly every morning.
I hope you find the time and you take the time for the breathe in and breathe out, because that's the most important time in a way. When you get up, you set the intention for the day. So thank you so much. And again, congratulations. We have all the information in the show note. Please donate to your scholarship foundation, and we wish you good luck for 26 to reach your goals.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time today.
Wow, what a conversation. What are you taking away? Taking it from the Iron Woman, we have episodes every Monday. Come and join us. We have lively discussions, wonderful talks about changing the lives of others. And Take It From the Iron Woman is also the book Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Download it or get it in your local bookstore. And also like and subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to this podcast today. Thank you for your support, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.